Welcome back to Tea Talk Tuesday, guys. All right, today we are talking about cold steeping versus hot steeping, which is something I said last week I was going to touch upon this week. Now, are there any benefits to cold steeping my tea versus hot steeping? Are there taste differences? Why would I choose cold steeping over hot steeping or hot steeping over cold steeping, right? These are all the questions that we're going to explore in today's episode of Tea Talk Tuesday. So first off, let's kick the conversation off by saying this. Whether you choose to cold steep your tea or hot steep your tea, you're going to get the same amazing benefits by choosing to drink tea. Okay, so it doesn't matter which method you choose, you're getting those awesome benefits of drinking tea. Now, we've talked over the past few months about a variety of those different benefits that tea can offer, and they all hold true, whether it's cold or whether it's hot steeped. Okay, so I just need to start by saying that. Choosing tea, especially over drinking sugary beverages, sodas, things like that, is definitely a better option no matter what. So, with that being said, many studies have been done in recent years and are being done to start deciphering whether there really are different benefits from cold steeping versus hot steeping. Now, these studies are all preliminary and they all need more research to be scientifically proven that one offers something that the other doesn't, or vice versa. So what the research does show is that there could be some differences that they're starting to uncover. Now, we're going to explore some of these today. But first, let's talk about what is cold steeping versus hot steeping, right? So hot steeping is what most people are familiar with. You boil your hot water on the stove, you put your tea leaves into your tea bag or your infuser, and you steep your tea leaves in the hot water for a short period of time, usually anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, right? And then when it's done steeping, and you use a timer, and that's a difference too. But when it's done steeping, you remove the tea leaves, discard them, and enjoy your tea. Cold steeping, however, is when you put your tea leaves in cold water, not hot water, cold water, and you let it steep for a period of hours. Usually people do that overnight. You could do it for 10 hours or 8 hours, but cold steeping is a much slower process. There's also something called hot to cold steeping to make cold brewed tea. And this is how a lot of people brew iced tea when they want to drink it or enjoy it right away within 15 to 20 minutes. So in this method, you actually steep your hot tea, right? And then you immediately pour it over ice and perhaps add a little bit more cold water to that. And then you wait a couple more minutes and you enjoy it as iced tea. So what happens when we apply the hot water to tea leaves, right? When we hot steep something. So when you apply that heat to those tea leaves, the heat changes the chemical structure of those leaves, and what it does is it allows those tannins in the tea to infuse the water. And those tannins are what create a bitter taste in your tea if you steep it for too long, if you over steep it, right? So that's why when you're hot steeping, it's really important to use a timer and time how long you're steeping your tea for. In cold steeping or cold brewing your tea, you actually end up with a tea that's smoother tasting because the flavors are slowly extracted from those leaves over several hours using cold water, not heat. So we're not changing the chemical makeup of those leaves. So what happens is that cold water extracts fewer tannins from the tea leaves, which is going to reduce the bitterness of the tea. So there are some people who actually think that cold brewing teas can taste different than hot brewing teas. So there's a doctor from the Arizona Center for Integrative Medicine. His name is Dr. Andrew Weil, and he believes that too many tannins can actually inhibit the amount of iron absorbed from foods, specifically the non-heme iron. And this is the iron that you get from vegetables and grains. So for plant-based eaters, that can be troublesome, right? So cold brewing tea is going to produce fewer of those tannins, and the thought process there is inhibit the iron absorption less. So it might be better for plant-based eaters. Now that's just his take on it, right? Other studies have been done that show cold steeping lowers the caffeine levels in the tea. and that's also going to reduce the bitterness, and it makes a smoother tasting tea. Now, studies have shown that cold steeping actually offers higher antioxidant activity than hot steeping. Now, this one's still up for debate and studies are still being done, but the hypothesis here, which again needs more research, is that the super hot water can actually destroy some of the catechins, which are those antioxidants in the tea. But again, that one's sort of still up for debate. Now, if you're looking to reduce your sugar intake, cold steeping might be a great way to consume your tea, because when you cold steep, those flavors tend to be stronger and sweeter, again, because they were extracted over a period of hours at a much slower pace. And because of that, and you've got a sweeter, smoother tasting tea, you're less likely to need those sweeteners in your tea. So if you're looking to reduce sugar intake, trying to cold brew your tea might be beneficial for you. Something you'd have to try and see if it works for you. Now, if you have trouble taking in enough water during the day, cold steeping in iced tea is a wonderful way to up your water intake without feeling like you're just drinking water. Now, me personally, I can drink water all day long. It doesn't bother me, but there are people who have a hard time drinking a lot of water. They just don't like the taste of water. So cold steeping a tea can really help with that, and it's not giving you all those added calories and everything else that other beverages do. So you're still getting your water intake. Now, other studies have shown that the vitamin C in cold brew tea is more active than it is in hot steep teas. And this is great because vitamin C helps boost our immune systems. So all of these are things that are still being studied. The research, is still ongoing, and we will start to see more and more research evolving over the next couple of years on this particular topic, especially as tea starts to take a hold in our society again, as wellness becomes more of a priority for people. So when would I choose cold steeping over hot steeping? How do you know, right? Honestly, you guys, it's going to be based on your own personal taste preferences as well as the convenience factor. So let's talk about these. If you've got a tea that you've been drinking hot, okay, maybe when you drink it hot, it just doesn't taste the way you want it to. Maybe it tastes bitter or astringent, whatever the case may be, you just don't like the taste of it. The next time, try cold steeping it and see if the flavor is a bit different. I challenge you to do that with any of the teas that you have that you don't like that you've hot brewed. You might be surprised. So flavor would be one reason you might cold steep versus hot steep. Another is going to be timing and convenience. So let's say you've got a bunch of people coming over tomorrow. You've thought ahead, you knew they were coming, so you've had time to make a pitcher of cold brewed tea and steep it overnight, cold steep it for several hours. But maybe you've got a day that comes up where you've got some people coming over unexpectedly, you didn't know they were coming, so you need to make a pitcher of iced tea fairly quickly. In this case, you'd probably choose that hot to cold steeping method so that you can steep it quickly and extract all the flavors, but then pour it over ice and be able to enjoy it within 30 to 60 minutes. So timing and convenience can really be another factor as to how you steep your tea. Another reason may be the season. This is kind of a no-brainer, but in the wintertime, I obviously like to drink hot teas, right? In the summertime, on hot days, I prefer to drink iced teas. But at night, I like to enjoy a hot cup of tea at night. There's just something about having that hot cup before bed that I enjoy. So, hot in the winter, fall, colder in the spring and summer, hot tea every night. And then in the mornings, I'm so used to having a hot cup of coffee in the morning, and many mornings I still do have a cup of coffee, but I do like that hot cup of tea in the morning. There's something about warming up my body and my digestive system with a hot cup of tea to kick things off. So seasons may be another reason. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate, whether you choose to cold steep or hot steep, you are going to reap the benefits of drinking tea, period. So don't just go cold brewing every cup because of what some of these studies are starting to show. But what you can do and what you can know now is that if you choose to cold steep your tea versus hot steep, you're still getting the same great nutritional value out of that tea, and in some cases, potentially even more, as if you had hot steeped it. And I know I have talked with so many people who thought that cold brewing didn't give you the same nutritional value. And I am here to tell you that yes, it does. So enjoy it cold, enjoy it hot, do whichever method works best for you in the situation you're in at the time, and drink your tea. It's Tea Talk Tuesday. Thanks for joining me.